Hello yogis, my name is April and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio and welcome to our practice today. Today we are blending myofascial release, Yin Yoga and Hatha Yoga or flow movement to help bring us into sort of a more balanced state. I love to blend these things together because they complement each other just perfectly. You can use myofascial release at the beginning to sort of loosen things up and break up adhesions and help the body start to become more flexible and open. You can use Yin Yoga at the beginning to help facilitate that a little bit further, really opening up and stretching out. And then using flow or Hatha Yoga, longer held postures in Hatha Yoga, to help sort of bring more strength, a little bit more cardio to that, a little bit more opening and stretching, bringing balance there. And at the end, closing it up with a yin pose or two that really helps kind of bring it all together, followed by Savasana. So for today's practice, you don't need any props except for tennis balls or myofascial release balls. So these are two myofascial release balls. If you don't have myofascial release balls, you can always use tennis balls in a sock tied off at the top. But we're going to start with them outside. So they're going to be separated off, and then we'll put them back together in this. This is going to help us keep them on either side of the spine. So in today's practice, we're focusing on invitation, inviting. As we open up to new things in our lives, we have to really find the opening in the space. And so we're working with heart and hips to open up these spaces, open up the body first, always, open up energetically, open up our mind, open up our hearts, making space for whatever is to come in your life and what is up ahead for you. So I want you to think of this as an inviting practice. Think of this as our theme for today as an invitation. An invitation, so making room for what we would like to invite in, whatever that may be for you. So we're going to start on our backs with those two tennis balls and myofascial release balls. We're going to start with the SI and the piriformis. So the SI joints are on either side of your lower spine, top of your pelvis. So you're going to feel those two balls side by side. You're going to press down. You're going to feel a bone there. You're going to roll them out just maybe like a half roll. So you feel some sort of indentation and a little bit of softening. Now for many of us, this is a very, very sore spot, for myself included. So take a few breaths here and just let your weight sink into those myofascial release balls. Maybe if you want to start to explore, you can maybe start to rock your knees side to side. Of course, a cat is always helpful to add more weight to that so you can get a little bit more myofascial release. Always helpful. Just windshield wipering those knees side to side. And then you can start to maybe rock the hips a little bit side to side. I like to just tilt the pelvis. So take the right hip up and then the right hip down and switching sides. And this is going to get a little bit of a kind of movement up and down. Going to get a little deeper into the sacroiliac joints. Maybe starting to walk the feet together, take the knees out to the side. This may be a little bit too much or it may be okay. Just know that you can sort of breathe into this, knowing that myofascial release is often quite uncomfortable, but it will come to an end as it always does, and we'll feel better. Taking a few deep breaths. Sometimes when we're in myofascial release, we hold our breaths because it's painful. Taking some nice deep cleansing breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Letting your body sink here a little bit more. And then starting to bring your knees back up toward the ceiling. Take your feet wide, drop your knees together. This is going to feel a little bit different. Here again, a few deep breaths. And walking your feet back together, knees straight up. You're going to lift your hips just a little bit, and you're going to roll those myofascial release or tennis balls out a little bit and down a little bit. And you're going to find sort of a little indent in your glutes. This is another one of those very painful spots for a lot of people. This is your piriformis. Let your weight begin to settle here. Remember, those breaths are key to helping you release some of that tension and also move through the myofascial release. And here again, maybe starting to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Super slow. Myofascial release is not a hurried process. It takes time. Here again, maybe starting to shift the hips side to side, getting a little up and down massage here. Then here again, we're going to walk the feet together, drop the knees wide. Nice deep breaths. Maybe with each breath, you feel your knees going a little bit wider, your weight dropping in a little bit more. Starting to walk those feet wide, this time dropping the knees together. Notice if you're holding on. We often don't let ourselves sink fully in there because we feel that challenge, that pain, that little bit of kind of a stinging sensation, and we sort of hang on, we grip. Let things soften very slowly and release. And then start to walk those feet closer together. Here you're going to take that right ankle across that left. Take a few breaths here. Uncross that right ankle and cross the left over the right. Uncross. Lift your hips. Take those 2 myofascial release balls out of the tennis balls. Place them in your sock or in the little bag that these came in. We're going to do a little bit of upper back work. So I find that taking these sort of about mid-back, right where the bottom of your shoulder blades come together. This is often a very tight space for people. Dropping your head back. I like to take my arms up, cross them over, and then maybe rock a little bit side to side. And then shifting down a little bit, moving those myofascial release balls up a little bit. They're more toward the center of your shoulder blades. This may feel a little bit more shocking for some people. Here again, arms out to the side, or you can start to take your hands up and maybe start to reach as if you're pulling on a rope. So left and right, back and forth. You're just rocking side to side, getting a little deeper into the tissues of the back. I like to often stay in these positions for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then shifting, moving down a little bit more till you get where those myofascial release balls are toward the top side of your shoulder blades. So that kind of point that sticks up a little bit more. Here again, maybe this time taking your arms up overhead and then moving those hands back down and up ahead, overhead. Your arms can be straight or elbows bent. Maybe just one more time up overhead, reaching up straight overhead, stretching long, and then taking those hands down. We're going to go ahead and lift up and take your myofascial release balls way off to the side, coming down onto your back. So because we've worked in these spaces, we want to go a little bit further. So we're going to take that right leg, cross it over the left, right above the knee, and go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. So here you can reach for your knees, your ankles, your legs, your feet, taking them either out wider or just leaving them here. If this is a lot, you can always take a strap or a blanket and wrap it around your knees, bringing them a little closer in. But let gravity really kind of pull them in a little bit more. Stretching the entire back line of the body, the hips, the glutes, those spaces we just stretched out with myofascial release. Up into your breath, working with the intention of inviting and making space. Just about one more minute here. When we think about an invitation and making space, we still have to think about releasing, letting go, and clearing out. We hold a lot of feelings and emotions and history in our hips and in our heart. Very gently release your legs. Unwind, take your feet wide, drop your knees together. Stillness or movement if you'd like. Noticing anything that comes up, noticing any space here. Like after myofascial release, it's really wonderful to notice how your glutes and your hips feel and your legs and your back. I'm always amazed at how more open they feel after myofascial release. Nice deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And then our second side. This time taking left leg across right. We're going to bring those knees into the chest as close as you can get them, using strap, hands, reaching for knees, ankles, feet, legs. acknowledging that this side may feel very different than the other. What might you be ready to release or let go, to make space? Or what would you like to invite into your life? Release your legs all the way down, unwind, take your feet wide, drop your knees together, take a few breaths here. And gently roll over to your right side, making your way up onto hands and knees. Keeping the hips over the knees or a little bit behind. We're going to come into melting heart pose. So walking your hands forward, dropping your chest down, letting your belly be soft toward the ground. If this is a lot for your back, you can always engage your core just a little bit and lift the belly up. Maybe as you come into this pose a little bit deeper, you can drop your forehead a little bit further, or even tuck your chin down, resting on your chin, stretching the arms out, engaging just a little bit here so your elbows are lifted off the floor. So one more deep inhale and exhale. Starting to lift your head, look up towards your fingertips. Start to walk those hands back in. Maybe coming back into child's pose, resting your head on your hands for a few breaths. Gently coming on to hands and knees again. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. Starting to maybe rock the hips a little bit side to side, finding a little movement here. This is a great stretch for the outer hip. Starts to open things up a little bit. Then going back to center and coming into cat-cow tilt. So cow tilt, maybe exhale, cat arch. Inhale, cow tilt. And exhale, arch. 3 more at your own breath pace. Move through the spine. Nice and slow. Taking one last round here. Coming back to center and starting to rock back. Bring your fingertips behind you and lift your hips up. Little heart opener, hip opener. I like to stay on my fingertips, but if you like to come down to your palms, you can. Lift the heart a little bit more, drop your head back. Slowly start to come back down. Come back onto hands and knees. Now here you're going to turn your left foot out to the left, come onto the left hand and come into a side plank. Stretching arm up as high as you can, tucking that left shoulder under so you open a little bit more of the heart space. Here you can start to lift that right leg off the ground, or if you want, reach around, grab hold of the ankle and come into a version of sugar cane pose. Opening up. And then releasing back down onto hands and knees. Switching sides. Turn that right foot out. Come onto the other side. Tuck that right shoulder underneath. The left hand reaches up. Stretch out through the side body. Feel your fingers reaching up super high toward the ceiling. And then if you like, you can lift that left leg up. Keep it straight or bend the knee. Reach around, come into this version of sugar cane here again. Gently release, come back onto all fours. Just start to rock again side to side. Keeping a little loosening action here. And then go ahead and come all the way down to your belly. Take your fingers out a little bit wider, up on the fingertips, elbows high as if you're Spider-Man crawling up a building. Inhale, little cobra here. Exhale, coming down. Inhale up, lift a little higher. Exhale down. Inhale, maybe even a little bit higher. And exhale down. This time we're going to lift up and we're going to hold for 3 breaths. Exhale, release all the way down. Palms underneath your shoulders. Flip your toes, come back. Hips to heels and then up into downward facing dog. So maybe your downward facing dog is really close, maybe it's really far. Start to walk your dog out, bending one knee and then the other. Stretching the feet and the ankles and the calves. And then bend your knees, look up at your hands, hop or walk up to the top of your mat. Come up halfway, hands to shins or thighs or the floor. And exhale, soften your knees and fold forward. 2 more times halfway. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Last one, inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, soften the knees and sweep your hands all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweep hands up. Reach for that left wrist with that right hand and pull over toward the right. Stretch as far as you can, making that beautiful crescent shape. Come back to center, switching sides. Breathing into, this time, the right side, the right lungs, the right side body. Inhale, arms up. We're going to exhale into chair pose. So knees together, feet close, engage through the core, tuck in a little bit, sit down a little bit lower, arms up, reaching up, fingertips high, looking up. We're going to do a little sweep back here. So we're going to exhale, take those hands behind us, sit down a little bit lower, inhale up a little ways, exhale back. Inhale up, exhale back. 3 more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale, and last one, your own breath. This time we're going to inhale up, bring the hands to the heart center. Sit back a little bit lower, engage the core, lift up, press those knees toward one another. And we're going to shift our weight a little bit over toward the right, lift that left knee, and step it all the way back into a high lunge. Arms up overhead, stretch through the fingertips. And then exhale, hands around behind us, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulders back, look up, little back bend. And pulling the hands away from the lower back. Exhale, fold into humble warrior. Pressing through that back toes. Running a long line here. Inhale, sweep hands back up. You're going to drop that left heel down, come into warrior 1. Take that right arm underneath left, eagle arms, palm to palm or hands, or even give yourself a little hug. Elbows as high as the shoulders, hands away from the face. And then come into warrior 2. Stretch the fingertips out and then reach up and back, reverse your warrior. Stretching the side body again here, right hand up over your head, maybe looking up, maybe looking down. Coming back to center. Taking the hands down to the floor, turning those back toes around, coming down onto that left knee, walking your right foot out, coming into gecko pose. A little more hip opening here. Dropping in, maybe letting the toes fall open, the knee fall open, maybe coming down onto your forearms. Putting the foot flat, lifting the back knee up, stepping forward to the front of your mat, left next to right. Fold forward. On an inhale, come all the way up to the top. And exhale back into chair pose. Knees together, inhaling, lifting belly, tucking in the ribs. Exhale, floating hands back. Inhale up, starting this cycle again. Exhale, floating hands back. Inhale up. Exhale back. Building a little heat. Inhale up. Last time, exhaling back. Inhaling, we're going to bring those hands together at heart center, sitting back a little bit deeper, engaging the core, bringing the knees toward one another. This time, we're going to lift that right knee up. Find a little balance here. Exhale, step that leg back, come into high lunge. Arms up overhead, stretch through the fingertips. Then exhale, hands around behind you. Interlace the fingers, roll the shoulders back. Little back bend. And then folding into humble warrior. Releasing, taking the hands all the way back up. Dropping that right heel back behind you, coming into warrior one. This time taking the left elbow underneath the right for eagle arms on this side. Hands away from the face, elbows as high as the shoulders. Unwinding, coming into warrior two. Stretching the fingertips out. And then reaching up and back, reverse your warrior. Maybe you're feeling that heat building. You're feeling a little warmer. Remember that heat helps burn off what you no longer need, making space. And then exhale. Turn those back toes around. Drop that back knee. And step that left foot a little wider for a gecko pose. Coming down to whatever feels intuitive for you. Forearms, hands, elbows. Two more breaths. Bring that left foot flat, lift that right knee. We're going to do something a little different here. We're going to walk ourselves to a wide forward fold. So stepping the feet wide, matching them up here. Turning the heels out, toes in. We're going to be on a wide forward fold, hands down to the floor. Maybe coming up on the fingertips, lifting up. I'm doing a little cat-cow here. I always love cat-cow in this pose. I always feel like it gets me a little bit deeper forward fold. I'm going to fold a little bit deeper, walk our hands over toward the right as far as we can go. Coming back through center and walking the hands way over to the left as far as we can go. Coming back through center, walking the feet a little bit closer together, bringing the heels in. We're going to shift side to side. So bend the right knee, take the left toes off the floor, little hamstring stretch. And then change sides. Bend your left knee, bring your right toes off the floor. Shifting side to side. Discovering that maybe your feet need to be closer together. Maybe they're okay where they are. One more on each side. Coming back up to your forward fold, taking your hands to your hips, bending your knees softly and coming all the way up nice and slow. Start to walk your feet closer together. Turn to the front of your mat, take a big step forward, shake it off. I love a balancing pose at the beginning of every year. So we're going to start with the dancer's pose, opening both heart and hips. So bending your knees and softening into them just a little bit. You're going to bring that right heel up and either use a strap or your hand to reach for the outside or the inside of that right foot. So you want to find your knee pointing straight down, so not out to the side. And then start to just pull that leg back a little bit. Maybe you lean forward a little, maybe you don't. I like to take my left hand to my left thigh to give me a little balance. Or you can start to take the hand out. Use a wall nearby if you need some stability. It's a great pose for the wall. And then slowly come all the way back in. Drop that foot down. Other side. Softening the knees, finding some core engagement here. Bending that left foot, walking your hand to the inside or the outside of the foot. Starting to shift the foot back, leaning forward, whatever variation you want. Start to come back slowly. Drop your foot down. Shake it out. Inhale, sweep hands up. Bring the feet together. Exhale, bend the knees out to the side and come into sort of a toe squat here. We're going to take a little variation of this pose. Take your elbow into that left leg, left knee, and reach your right arm up. And then switching sides, tucking that upper arm or elbow into the right, sweep the left hand up. A little balancing twist here. Coming back to center and coming all the way down onto a seat. Tiny little bit left here. Take the palms out to in front of you. Shoulders back, chest lifted, heart lifted. Lean back into boat pose. Inhale, bring the knees into the chest. Exhale, open the arms out in a cactus position. Inhale, knees to chest. Exhale, open. 2 more. Inhale in. Exhale, open. And 1 more. And then lower your feet down and come all the way down to the floor. Take a couple of breaths here. Be noticing how warm you are now. And then very gently stretch that left leg out straight. Bring your right knee into your chest. Give it a little squeeze. You will circle the ankle a few times. Point and flex the toes. And then gently take that right leg all the way across the body toward the left. Right arm goes out to the right. You can lift your head and turn and look over your shoulder. Coming into our final yin pose before Savasana. And then gently start to bend your left leg. Reach for that left foot with your right hand and come into cat pulling its tail. Now, if this is not possible for you, you can use a strap or you can just reach for that or grab hold of your pants. Gently start to release and unwind, coming back to center. Take 3 deep breaths, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. This time stretching out your right leg nice and long, bringing your left knee into your chest, circling your ankles, pointing and flexing your toes. And then gently bring your left knee over to your right side, maybe turning and looking over your left shoulder. And then bending your right leg this time, reaching around and coming into cat pulling its tail on this side, however you can. Using a strap or your pants, maybe this side is a little bit more challenging. Gently release whatever hold you have and come back onto your back. Here, walking your feet wide or dropping your knees together or taking your legs out straight, tucking your shoulder blades underneath, palms out to the side in Savasana. Taking a few breaths to scan your body from the top of your head down to the bottoms of your feet, noticing anything, any sensations, any changes, any shifts energetically. Coming back to your intention to invite. And to invite, we must have the space to invite something or someone into our lives. Noticing where you feel more opening, more space, more flexibility, more room to move and to grow. invite you to stay here as long as you can or as you have, resting in Shavasana, allowing your body to assimilate all that it has learned or changed or shifted during the practice. When you are ready to return to the world, take your time. Be slow and mindful and intentional, inviting in space and compassion and opening into your life as you move forward. Lucy and I would like to thank you so much for joining us for this practice. We are always honored to share space with you and grateful for your spending time with us on the mat. May you have a wonderful day.